So it looks like in Season 11, they're trying to make it so there really aren't crafting bottlenecks anymore. I just want to put out a really quick video because I hadn't seen anybody talking about it just yet, and I was coming down here to make some potions to test on my character, and when I clicked on the alchemist, I saw the word enrich scrap, which is not a word that I'd seen before. I'd seen, some kind of refined materials. We used to be able to turn herbs into other herbs and things like that. But when I opened up enrich scrap, I noticed that there was a new recipe that would take 100 rawhide and 100 iron chunks, along with 25,000 gold, and turn that into veiled crystal. Now, can I even show you how many veiled crystal? All right, yeah, I can actually show you how many it makes. We make one, and this is going to generate 10 veiled crystal. So 100 iron chunks, 100 rawhide, 25,000 gold to make 10 veiled crystal. That's not too bad. We're typically running out of veiled crystal all the time. But that's when I realized that there was another tab, Refined Materials. And in this one, you'll be able to make abstruse sigils, baleful fragments, as well as coiling wards, and most importantly, being able to make forgotten souls. So it looks like it's going to require 100 veiled crystals and 500,000 gold to be able to make 10 forgotten souls out of veiled crystals. Now, the interesting thing, though, here is that typically veiled crystals and forgotten souls are both a bottleneck. So I figured we could go look at my character on the live server right now, see how much material I have, and then see what it would take to generate a bunch of veiled crystal and a bunch of forgotten souls based off my current gold and current scrap. That character that I'm playing in Season 10 right now is completely solo self-found. I've only ever played by myself. I've never traded. I never bought gold. I never got a handout. I've never even partied for things like infernal hordes or boss killing. So the amount of resources that character has after about 150 hours played is going to be pretty organic with what you should expect to have, unless all of these numbers are different walking into Season 11. But let's go ahead and jump over there. Now, my character currently on live Season 10, I have 76,000 iron chunks, 86,000 rawhide, 24,000 veiled crystal, 4,000 forgotten soul, and 1.5 billion gold. So I could currently participate in this system a whole bunch. And when resetting a masterwork takes 10 rawhide, 5 veiled crystals or forgotten soul, and about 5 million gold, versus the current masterworking that takes a bunch of obdicite, a bunch of iron chunks, a bunch of veiled crystals, and 6 forgotten souls, and that number only gets higher and higher as you masterwork more, we could see why there would be a point where you would probably want to be able to convert these materials. The major issue being that you can't really just all funnel them up to Forgotten Souls, right? You still need the Veiled Crystal, you still need the Iron Chunk, and obviously you're going to need gold too, because even something like imprinting onto a legendary weapon takes Iron Chunks as well as Veiled Crystal, Baleful Fragments, Forgotten Souls, and a hefty chunk of gold. But how much do these things cost in the PTR? That's when it hit me. Masterworking and basically all of the things that we do with our gear, all of the crafting options, are all very, very different in the Season 11 PTR as well. Well, lo and behold, masterworking, oddly enough, costs a lot less than it did before, and the price is constant. So it just needs some obdicite, a single Forgotten Soul, 2 of the coiling wards, which is what you need for armor versus something like a weapon, and only 125,000 gold. So this is vastly, vastly smaller than the cost that we were seeing prior. And it looks like every single rank of it costs the same amount. Now, the final masterwork, which will add a GA to your gear, costs 500 obdicite, 3 Forgotten Souls, and 6 abstruse sigils. That's a pretty small price to pay. With imprinting only costing 5 Forgotten Souls, but 1 million gold. So a bit more than 2 times the gold amount when you consider it's a 2-hander, but only 5 Forgotten Souls. So it really seems like materials and what they get used for are going to be drastically different in Season 11 and very simplified. It looks like at a certain point, you don't even really need veiled crystals at all for any of the things that you do. Tempering doesn't require veiled crystals either, just 25 Forgotten Souls, which is actually like quite a bit, but you have to remember that you just get to choose the temper that you want now, and the only time that you would re-roll it is if you're going for more perfect ones. And then 25 Baleful Fragments as well, which you tend to have a lot more of these than Forgotten Souls, but at 25 a pop, you're going to start running out of these too. So while I don't think that we should expect to have the amount amount of veiled crystals and the amount of forgotten souls, or hell, even the same amount of iron chunks and rawhide as we do in the current season, I figured we could at least do some math very quickly to figure out what it would cost to convert everything that I currently have up to forgotten souls, because it seems like, again, at some point we're not going to need veiled crystals at all. And while it says that this crystal can be used to improve equipment at the blacksmith, occultist, and jeweler, I think that this is strictly for pre-ancestral gear. Like here, a pre-ancestral weapon that's still item power 75 only needs 5 veiled crystals and 200,000 gold. Tempering, similarly, is only 15 veiled crystals, 5 baleful fragments, and then no gold cost at all. With masterworking, similarly, not requiring forgotten souls, just 4 veiled crystals, 1 baleful fragment, and then 125,000 gold. But at these costs shown at the PTR and the amount of resources that I have, how much of this could I convert? Bumping up to veiled crystal, iron chunk is going to be my initial roadblocks. That's what I have the least of. But since it takes 100 of these, I can do this 762 times. And 762 conversions at a 25,000 gold cost per conversion will cost me a whopping 19 million gold. That's just a drop in the bucket for the 1.5 billion that I have. But at that point, I should have generated another 7,620 veiled crystal, which would bring my new veiled crystal count all the way up to 31,820. And then the conversion there is 100 veiled crystal and 500,000 gold to be able to create 10 forgotten souls. Let's see how much we get out of that. So this would be 318.2 conversions multiplied by the 500,000 gold mark. And that brings us up to a whopping 159 million gold. Now, doing that 318 times will generate me 3,182 forgotten souls if you could do portions of a transaction there. So right now, on the current server playing completely solo self-found, I could afford to convert all of my rawhide, iron chunk, and veiled crystal up to forgotten souls. I could also swap this with any of the other fragments that I might need, with the other types like baleful fragments, calling wards, and abstruse sigil costing significantly less gold here. It's actually a factor of 10, it's only 50,000 gold, but a similar amount of veiled crystal. But I could split this out however I wanted, and I would be able to afford it. So it looks like in Season 11, they're trying to make it so there really aren't crafting bottlenecks anymore. But then the question becomes, do we continue to get iron chunk, rawhide, and veiled crystal in Torment? Because it seemingly has been dropping from sources. So maybe this is just a way for them to spread out a little bit more reward to each thing that we do, considering also you're going to continue to be salvaging gear, etc. Whereas salvaging a regular legendary piece of gear is giving me 16 veiled crystals and 8 baleful fragments, and salvaging an ancestral weapon granting me 4 forgotten souls and 20 baleful fragments as well. I think all in all what that means is that we are ramping up to a significantly healthier amount of crafting materials, with the player's ability to directly take time and effort and turning into the materials that you need and want at whatever progression point you are. Obviously, we're going to have to see how like gold drops feel, how resource drops feel, how often we're salvaging gear. I will say that in this PTR, I went and tested out my PvP farming strategy, and as far as I can tell, it's still dropping the exact same amount of gear and resources. Actually, funnily enough, I went there, I did a single loop, and I replaced every piece of gear that I had with either an ancestral piece of gear or item power 750, and that was the moment I walked into Torment 1. So that's probably going to be the strategy that I take, go there for about an hour, just farm up a bunch of ancestrals, and then immediately go smash Torment. But I guess that's also a topic for another video. But there you go. I haven't seen anybody else talking about it. It's one of those nerdy things where it's just like, who's going down to the alchemist to convert materials on a PTR when we get boosted? But this is probably why the developers were so interested in us experiencing the full leveling and organic progress. It's something that I did on the first day of the PTR. While I haven't been streaming, I've still been playing, obviously. The thing that I did is I just literally took a level 1 character and brought them all the way up to like Torment 3, I think it was. It took me about like 6 to 8 hours, stopping, rereading everything, testing out weird stuff, doing weird things. But the actual leveling process itself, I think, was done in like 3 hours, and I didn't even use campaign leveling or anything like that. So for the people who are concerned about like leveling being super slow or whatever, it absolutely will not be. But I figured I'd just add that on here to the end. But maybe this is why they were so interested in us having that experience, because how else would we have found systems like this? There you go. I just want to get this out to people. I know that the resource bottlenecks is typically a pretty big friction point for the majority of the player base. It's something that you see complain about all the time on Reddit, and then you'll see streamers complaining about it, and then that'll trickle down, and then everybody is complaining about it. So hopefully this helps out. Maybe this is finally like a change in the right direction, where they're realistically shouldn't be any bottlenecks if you can always choose to have whatever resource you need. But let me know what you think down in the comments. Do you think that this is enough? Is it too early to tell? Do you even care about this kind of stuff? I'd appreciate hearing from you. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel, leave a like on it as well. Thank you so much for watching this video. I truly hope that it helps, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.